Hey guys, you're here for another instalment from Force 15. So this is the forecasts for the Northern Hemisphere seasons this year. And we'll kick right off at the moment with the North Atlantic, which is looking to hot up because some sources are saying that we could be going to vice versa of last year and possibly going into a very strong La Nina year. Thus I have put this forecast out under those assumptions and conditions as well. Is that I am now anticipating 24 tropical depressions in the North Atlantic, 21 of which will become tropical storms, and 13 category 1s, and then 9 of which will go on to become 2s, 7 of which 3s, 5 4s, and then 2 category 5s. So I'm looking at sort of an above average season, and also possibly looking at 2 big ones, 2 cat 5s, sort of going off the sort of 2007 conditions really, because I believe that was also a possible. It was closer to neutral, but possibly slight on the edge of La Nina year there. But really just hold our breath and see what happens within the next sort of 6 to 8 months. The peak of activity in the Atlantic will be in September normally. We've already had our first storm, Hurricane Alex, which was from the 13th to the 15th of January. So we've already had our first named storm of the year, which the next storm after that will be Bonnie. Now we go on to the Eastern Pacific forecast there. I'm looking more of a low average season, and just due to the possibility of La Nina, which will weaken storm activity in the Eastern Pacific. And we're looking at now 18 tropical depressions, 15 of which become tropical storms, 9 category 1s, 4 category 2s, 2 category 3s, 1 category 4 and 0 category 5s. So I'm not looking at the moment for a category 5 EPAC storm this year. That's just following also the hypothesis with an La Nina year within the Eastern Pacific, within the Pacific Basin really. We thought really for the last few years, all of us as a team at Force 13, we had thought for a while that the active period in the Atlantic was over. It could pick up again, but we're not really holding our breath at this time as to what will happen. Though we'll have to see really. It might be interesting, but just hold our breath really. Anyway, either way, hurricane season is going to be interesting this year. We're already having our first 2 named storms of the season, with Hurricanes Alex in the Atlantic and also Parley as well in the Eastern Pacific, or technically Central Pacific as well. So now we will go on to the Western Pacific Basin. Okay, and we're now on the Western Pacific Basin, where I'm possibly anticipating 25 tropical depressions, 17 of which become tropical storms, and then 14 become category 1s, 10 category 2s, 8 category 3s, 4 category 4s, and 1 category 5. It looks that it might be a good start to the Pacific typhoon season, maybe. But there hasn't been anything as of yet, as of the 19th of March 2016. And actually, Pegasa had thought by this time that they released this forecast on January 8th. They thought between January and March there'd be 1 to 2 tropical cyclones, on which there have been 0. And then also with April to June, Pegasa thought 1 to 3 tropical cyclones. We haven't entered that time period yet, so we'll have to see what happens there. And also the current names on these storms at the moment. First few storm names, first 3 of each area. International names, we have Nampasak, Lupit and Mirane. And also Philippine names, Ambo, Butchoy and Karina. The Philippine naming list is the same thing used in 2012, because I remember Samba, Kara and Jelawat Larwin, which are also in this naming list this year. And well, it's going to be an interesting season either way. We'll have to see how the season plays out really. These forecasts are just on the basis of the last few years and possible hypothesis of what could happen this year. And next we will now move on to the final basin, North Indian. So now we're on the North Indian there now, guys, and a sort of maybe above average season. We'll have to wait and see what happens. We're anticipating 7 tropical depressions, 5 tropical storms, 4 of which become category 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 2 4s and 1 5 there. Because when it's a La Nina year, it normally encourages more intense monsoons in the North Indian Ocean. And well, it's been an unpredictable last few years really, because at the start of the Pacific hurricane season, last year, forecasts were fairly low really. Where they thought, the SMN, which is the Servicio Meteorological Nacional, which I think is the meteorological agency for Mexico, had forecast on April 10th, 2015, 19 tropical storms, 11 hurricanes and 4 majors. They were going for an above average season, though it was more above average than they thought really. Because CPC as well had the kind of predictions that they had on May 27th, forecasted 15 to 22 named storms, 7 to 12 hurricanes and 5 to 8 majors. Still well off, but as I said, it's been a very, very unpredictable few years in all basins as well. Sorry I've gone off a bit off topic, back to the EPAC with the North Indian, but yeah. So it should be an interesting few years storm-wise. Anyway, that's all for me now. Thank you guys for watching. This is Force 15 signing off.